His face is 4 stories tall, painted on the side of a stadium, looking down at the people filing in to watch him play. And the strange thing, the thing that doesn't quite sit right when you stand under that wall, is that he is not the next big thing. He already happened. We have a comfortable little story we tell about teenagers like this. The wonder kid, the one for the future, watch him now. The story goes, and in 5 or 6 years, if everything breaks right, he might win you something. It's a story built entirely on the word potential, on the gap between what a young player is and what he might become. And it is the wrong story for the boy on that wall, because for him that gap has already closed. He didn't grow into greatness over a decade the way we expect. He skipped the line. So let me walk you backward through a career, except this career belongs to someone who, if the tournament goes the distance, could lift its trophy in the United States while still a year too young to buy a celebratory drink in the country where the final is played. Start at the beginning, which was absurdly early. He pulled on a Barcelona shirt for a competitive match at 15 years and 291 days old. 15. At an age when most people are arguing with a maths teacher, he was being asked to handle grown professionals who tackle for a living. That alone would have been a headline. It turned out to be a footnote, because the next thing he did was rewrite a record that had stood untouched for 66 years. At Euro 2024, the European Championship, Spain won the whole thing, and the day after he turned 17, this teenager became the youngest player ever to win a major international football trophy. The record he broke belonged to Pelé, set back in 1958. Sit with that for a second. Pelé is the name we reach for when we want a shorthand for impossibly gifted teenager who conquered the world. For 2/3 of a century, no one had been younger. And then a boy from a small town near Barcelona walked past him. A day after blowing out 17 candles, he didn't just turn up at that tournament either. In the final, against England, it was his pass, that threaded ball to Nico Williams, that helped break the game open. They named him the best young player of the entire competition. He was again 17. And here's where the timeline starts to feel genuinely strange, because winning a Euro should be the peak. It should be the thing a player chases his whole life and lifts once near the end, if he's lucky. For him, it was a warm-up. Last season at club level, the numbers people throw around are something like 24 goals and 18 assists, the kind of return that puts a man in the conversation for the best on the planet. And he was, in fact, in that conversation. Runner-up for the 2025 Ballon d'Or, the award for the world's best player, beaten only by Dembélé, the PSG forward who had just dragged his club to the Champions League title. He became the youngest player ever named La Liga's Player of the Year. So pause and take inventory. A European title, league titles. The youngest ever winner of a senior trophy, ahead of Pelé. A near miss for the Best Player Alive award. He has more or less won everything a footballer can win, everything except one thing. There is exactly one trophy left that he hasn't touched, and it happens to be the biggest one in the entire sport, the World Cup. And it is happening right now, around him, with his painted face watching the crowds arrive. Spain are chasing their second world title. The first came back in 2010, 16 years ago, a whole footballing era away, before this kid had even started primary school. The team built to deliver it is frightening. Almost the entire squad is under 30. Rodri, who won that same Ballon d'Or in 2024. Pedri pulling the strings in midfield. Nico Williams, Cucurella, they are, by most measures, the favorites. So that's it. You'd think, the last box. He ticks it, and the most decorated teenager in the history of the sport completes the set before he's old enough to be served a beer in the host nation. Except there's a catch. There's always a catch, and this one is real. For most of the build-up to this tournament, the question wasn't whether he'd win it. It was whether he'd play at all. He hurt his hamstring near the end of the club season. The kind of injury that doesn't heal on a schedule. The kind that can come back the moment you trust it again. By his own account, he was frightened, not of pain but of relapse, of the World Cup slipping past him while he watched from a treatment table. His club sent his national team a careful set of conditions. Ease him in, 15 minutes here, maybe an hour there. Don't throw the most valuable teenager in the world straight into the fire. And so it played out exactly like that. Spain's opening match was a shock, a goalless draw against tiny Cape Verde, a nation playing in its first ever World Cup whose 40-year-old goalkeeper became a folk hero overnight. He came off the bench around the 71st minute, half fit, on managed minutes, and even then the coach admitted afterwards that the moment he stepped on, the whole shape of the game shifted. 30 minutes was all they dared give him. This is the part the hype machine skips. The weight of being the face on the wall is not a metaphor. When you're the headline act of the tournament favorites, when there are billboards of you on the venues, every dropped point gets read through you, every cautious substitution becomes a national debate. There's an honest worry here that follows every teenage phenomenon ever, that the pressure, the sheer expectation, eventually crushes the gift it's resting on. He waves it away, says being favorites means nothing once you cross the white line. Says what actually drives him is proving wrong everyone who whispers that he's too young. But the worry is fair, and pretending otherwise would be a lie, and then a more uncomfortable thought arrives, and it's worth letting it breathe. What if Spain don't actually need him to win this? Because that squad is so deep, so absurdly stocked, that you can build a serious case. The trophy comes regardless of what the kid does. Rodri controls games on his own. Pedri makes the whole team tick. When he started on the bench, others stepped up. Maybe the cleanest version of this story isn't Wonder Kid drags nation to glory at all. Maybe it's that Spain are simply the best team here, and he's one excellent player among many, and they'd lift it whether he scored 5 or 0. It's a genuinely deflating possibility if you came for the fairy tale. It's also entirely plausible. Here's the catch in the catch, though. Watch what happened next. His first start of the tournament, against Saudi Arabia. 10th minute, he scores. Spain win 4-0 and stroll through the group. The hamstring talk evaporates inside 10 minutes of football, and suddenly, the question flips back around. Yes, Spain might be good enough to win it without him, but a ceiling is a different thing from a floor. The depth means they don't depend on him. His ceiling means that on the right night, in the match that decides everything, he is the one player on the field who can do something nobody else can. The moment that turns a tight semifinal, the kind of pass England already learned the hard way. Depth wins you tournaments quietly. He's the thing that wins them loudly. So, which is more impressive to you? And this is a real question, not a rhetorical one. Lifting this trophy as a battered veteran who's chased it for 20 years, who knows exactly how much it costs and how rarely it comes, who's tasted losing it and come back. Or doing it at 18, before you've learned to be afraid of it, before the fear has had time to settle in your legs? I genuinely don't know which is the greater feat, and I'd be curious where you land. If this is the kind of question you like turning over, this channel is built for exactly that. Stick around, because here's where it leaves us. We are used to too young, meaning not yet. Wait your turn. Come back when you're ready. It's one of the oldest phrases in sport, and it has always been a fence, a way of saying there's a wall between what you are and what you're allowed to win. He turns 19 during this tournament, and if Spain go all the way, that wall comes down in front of a final that, last time around, drew something close to 1.5 billion people. Not he'll be great one day. He was great years ago. The only thing left to find out is whether, somewhere over the next few weeks, the phrase too young quietly stops meaning anything at all. And you might be watching the exact moment it does,